Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make my favorite lacto-fermented pickles. This is a recipe that I've been perfecting over the last 3 years, and other than them being crunchy and delicious, there are many benefits to this compared to pickles that you can buy in stores. The pickles that you buy in stores, it usually comes in vinegar and doesn't have any probiotics or many vitamins, whereas when you lacto-ferment it, you get all the friendly gut bacteria in here, as well as enhanced vitamins for your body. Enjoy. So these are the ingredients that you'll need to make 1 liter worth of pickles, and of course you can just extrapolate it to make more of them in bigger jars. So what you will need is 35 grams of fine sea salt for every 1 liter of filtered water, about 3 bay leaves, about 1/4 of tablespoon of parsley, about 1/2 teaspoon of dried or fresh dill, some dried chilies, or you can use like a small fresh chili, 1 stick of celery, and about 3 cloves of garlic. You'll also need about 1/4 tablespoon of coriander seeds. So I'm going to be using this 8 liter pickling crock, which will fit about 4 kilos of cucumbers. Alternatively, you can just use a 1 liter or 2 liter jars. Best thing to do is, before you add the salted water or any of the ingredients, just put the cucumbers in your container just to get an idea of how many you will need per container, and then go from there. What you want to do is cut off the ends of your gherkins. Best thing to do is to get gherkins like these, because they're really crunchy, but any type of cucumber will do. I recommend getting rid of these sort of soft and wilted ones, because you might spoil your pickles. Alternatively, you can just cut off any soft ones and keep the good parts of it. Use pure sea salt if you can, because the normal table salt tends to have anti-caking agents in it, which basically will make your water a bit cloudy. You probably won't affect the taste too much, but I always prefer to use pure sea salt. I'm going to add some boiling hot water, and the rest of it will be filtered room temperature water. I'm making 4 liters worth of salted water here, so I'm just dissolving salt in this container here. We'll now start putting our ingredients in the container. I'll place 1 layer of cucumbers, and then I will add rest of the ingredients in between the cucumbers. Of course, make sure that your cucumbers are nice and clean before you put them in. Now I'm just going to go ahead and start putting all the celery, the dill, and the bay leaf as well. Now we're going to start packing more of the cucumbers on top as tightly as possible. So all the gherkins are now packed in. I'm going to add the salted water, of course, with salt completely dissolved in tepid filtered water. To stop them from floating up, I'm going to place these stones. I'm now going to show you how you can keep cucumbers underwater. Using a clip top jar like this one, there's 2 options for keeping the cucumbers submerged underwater. One is to use a small Ziploc bag, fill it with water and put it inside on top of cucumbers. You can watch our video of sauerkraut to see how that's done exactly. Or another option is to use a wooden skewer. All you have to do is break it in the same size as the diameter of the mouth. Use two sticks like this, obviously inside, to stop them from floating up. The beauty of the pickling crock like this is that, as you can see, it's got water on the outside. So what happens is when you close it, it prevents any air from going in, but all the gas building up will still come up. If you're using a clip-top jar, just make sure to burp it every day. Essentially just open it, let the gas escape. This will prevent it from any gas from building up. The fermentation should take somewhere between 4 to 10 days. It depends on temperature and everything else. So we're going to start tasting this at about day 7. It's day 4, and as you can see, there's been a lot of activity. There are lots of bubbles, and as you can see, the level of water has risen, so be careful of that. You might also see a thin layer of white stuff on top. That's completely fine. That's just harmless yeast, but you can of course skim it off, which is probably what I'm going to do. I removed some liquid to prevent it from overflowing, and I also just agitated the top to prevent any potential mold from building up. I will now close this back up and check on it in about 3 days. But if you're using a mason jar, of course, come back to it every day, burp it, and make sure that there is no mold building up anywhere. It's day 9, and I think this should be ready. I'm going to taste it in a bit. I tasted it about 3 days ago. It was already pickled, but I just left it for a few more days to give it the extra tang. Don't worry about some of this white residue on top. This is completely fine. It's kind of like a yeast residue, but it should smell pleasant. It should smell like pickles. It shouldn't smell off or anything. And if you see any mold growing anywhere, that means something went wrong, and you should throw it all out and start again. This is what it should look like. I'm going to cut one now to show you what it should look like inside. So this is what it should look like. It should be pickled throughout. If you see some like green bits, which are kind of like fresh cucumber, then it's not pickled enough yet. And of course, the best way to test it is to taste it. Delicious, really crunchy, and of course, if it's not sour enough for you, you can leave it in for a few more days. If it's fine, then we'll move on to jarring it up and putting it in the fridge. Sieve the brine into the jars and put it in the fridge. Of course, if you've used a jar to pickle these, then just put it straight in the fridge. You can store it in a fridge for about 2 or 3 months, no problem. But I don't think it will last that long because they're so delicious. So this is what they look like. They're about to go into the fridge. And I also decided to sieve and keep some of the brine. Also can be called glass, I guess. So it's essentially lacto-fermented brine, which you can use as a salad dressing, or you can just drink it as it is. because it's got lots of probiotic benefits. So if you really like tomato juice, that kind of savory drink, then you will love this.